Imagine a screening for motor milestones that allows parents to just play with their baby in front of their mobile device at home. We piloted such a program this year where experts from Kindering and Early Markers analyzed the video remotely and produced a streamlined developmental report to put the parent's mind at ease and, if necessary, make additional referrals. Together, we are trying to change the paradigm from wait and see to identify and act. We can empower the parent with play prompts and expert tips to promote meaningful infant development.
Alexa, open Early Markers.
Good morning. I can help you with David's development. Do you want to know about David's upcoming milestones, or do you want a tip of the day?
Tip.
Okay. Is David rolling from back to belly?
No.
Here is a video that encourages rolling over. The video explains what to do with David to encourage rolling over and why rolling over is important.
Hi, I am Brett Vandenberg, CEO of Allegro Pediatrics. We are proud to be the presenting sponsor for Kindering's annual Salute to Courage Luncheon for the 15th consecutive year. Allegro and Kindering share a special bond in supporting Eastside kids with their healthcare needs. Each organization has more than 50 years of service to this wonderful community. We greatly appreciate the care that each of our families receive from Kindering every day. On behalf of all of us at Allegro, thank you for supporting Kindering and for attending this year's annual Salute to Courage Luncheon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Kindering's 16th annual Salute to Courage benefit. It is my great pleasure to be the chair for today's festivities. Kindering is very near and dear to my heart. I have been a proud Kindering supporter for more than 20 years. And since I joined the board of directors in 2016, I have seen Kindering grow, seen it change, and continue to be a dynamic and progressive agency that has served more than 7,000 children of diverse abilities and their families each year on Seattle's East Side. At Kindering, we know that 85% of the brain development takes place in the first 1,000 days of a child's life. How long is 1,000 days? Well, for a little perspective, more than half of the time has already passed since the beginning of this pandemic. That's 1,000 days. What if the children who need early support like those found at Kindering had no access to services? Services like physical therapy, feeding therapy, special education. My words, quite simply, will fail to describe the impact that Kindering has had on this community. Thanks to Kindering, tens of thousands of children and families across our region and beyond have conquered challenges, navigated the world, reached higher goals, gone further and higher, and more courageously launched into brighter, healthier futures. Today, we are here because of them, to support the important mission of Kindering and the services of programs that are provided for kids and community. The impact of Kindering's work in our children's lives is undeniable, and I hope you will join me today in ensuring that Kindering is able to support every child and family with life-changing services in 2021 and beyond. We are truly so lucky to have this amazing center right here in our own backyard. A culture of caring, expertise, and innovation permeates the entire organization. Today's program is full of heartwarming moments and easy to understand impact. I am happy to place our program in the very capable hands of our MC and the Master of Ceremonies for today's events, Dennis Bounds. You may recognize Dennis, as he has spent many years as a key news anchor at King 5 and has been an avid supporter of Kindering for over 20 years, with an incredible personal connection to the organization that I will let him share with you. I would like to thank you again for being here to join us in support of our littlest but most courageous community members. Dennis, the program is yours.
Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you for your tremendous leadership and unwavering dedication to Kindering. Again, my name is Dennis Bounds. I'm thrilled to be your host today. Thank you for being here to support Kindering's children and families, Kindering's incredible educators and therapists, and our mission to ensure that families on the unexpected journey of raising children with diverse needs thrive. While we are streaming in from hundreds of different households across the country today, our reason for gathering remains the same. We are here to salute the courage of all the children and families in Kindering's care. And as a father of a special needs child who is now 42 years old, I know the importance of programs such as Kindering to make sure that their kids get a great start in life. That's why I've been supporting this program, Kindering, for over 20 years. I'd like to kick things off by taking a few minutes to thank the leaders and sponsors that poured so much of themselves into today. This event would not be possible without you. A very special thanks to our Salute to Courage benefit sponsors who have collectively underwritten today's broadcast. A huge thank you to our presenting sponsor, Allegro Pediatrics. They've been the presenting sponsor for this event since 2007. They've also employed my son since 2001. I love them for it. Thanks to our diamond sponsors, the Biella Foundation, Ness Family Dentistry, Symetra, and Williams Kastner. And thanks to our platinum sponsors, Parker, Smith, and Feek. And to our gold sponsor, Weinstein Caggiano. And another very special thank you to our event chair, Cheryl Willard. We are enormously grateful to you for championing this event and for your decades of friendship and support to Kindering and our families. Annually, Kindering transforms the lives of more than 7,000 children with truly best-in-class pediatric therapies and specialized early learning supports. Even amidst the pandemic and its impacts on our community, Kindering's long-term agency goal remains to annually serve 10,000 children with special needs and their families by 2022. We know that providing Kindering services is even more critical today. And based on community needs seen in the strong enrollment in the second half of 2021, this goal will be met. In fact, Kindering experienced a record number of families seeking our services this summer, showing an increased need for our expertise across our community. Today, our children and families continue to be more and more diverse in their backgrounds and diagnoses, including Down syndrome, autism spectrum disorder, cerebral palsy, as well as hearing, vision, cognitive, motor, communication, feeding and behavior supports, and those children experiencing developmental milestone delays. At Kindering, moms, dads, brothers, and sisters speaking more than 50 languages are empowered and supported to celebrate and care for their child, sister, or brother with diverse abilities, all while receiving comfort from their Kindering service team who become their support system, often like second families. And over the past 2 decades, Kindering has partnered with staff, families, and the community to create pediatric therapy services for children and experienced housing instability, as well as those engaged in foster and kinship care. This innovation has continued today as we all learned just how technology could keep us all connected. We know that the need for Kindering services and support for a child's development did not stop during the pandemic. You've likely heard this statistic before. Knowing that there's not a moment to lose during a child's first 1,000 days of life, when 85% of brain development occurs, Kindering refused to let COVID derail their vision. Kindering did not stop services or pause their creative ways to serve families. In 2020 alone, 73% of Kindering services were provided virtually and effectively to children across our community. And in August of 2020, Kindering began slowly resuming in-person options while maintaining strong health and safety standards. Amid this ever-changing landscape, one thing remains constant. Kindering continued to support our children and families in innovative, trauma-informed, effective ways. Now, these supports include occupational therapy, physical therapy, feeding therapy, speech-language therapy, school readiness supports, family support, family education and training, infant mental health supports for families, developmental evaluations, and more. There is no better way to learn about Kindering's impact than from our own Kindering families. I would now like to introduce you to Rome, Felicia, and Kalia Johnson. We're going to give you a quick peek into their life, and then Rome is going to share more about why it's crucial that you support Kindering today.
We have been married for 5 years this August.
Last year, we welcomed our very first child, Kalia Joy, into this world, who also has a rare genetic syndrome called Pfeiffer syndrome. It's where the sutures of the skull prematurely fuses. And it's so rare that it's 1 in 100,000.
When the doctor sat us down and gave us her diagnosis and kind of what the future could look like, there was this unknown. There was a lot of unknown.
Right away, as she's born, she started crying right after she came out, which was a great sign because she was getting all the air out and all the liquid out of her lungs, but then she stopped breathing. As a parent and as a first-time parent and as someone who's just overwhelmed with emotions, I didn't know how to feel. All I know is that I was gonna be attached to her anywhere she went.
It was like day one that we got reunited as a family, and the doctor came into the hospital room and he kind of shared the trajectory of surgeries. But the first one we couldn't do until she gained some weight. So she was so small. And to think that they're gonna do a craniectomy, like I literally went home and like looked it up and just like, you're gonna open my baby skull. And it was those hard moments of knowing that the surgery was gonna be the best thing for her, but having to see her get wheeled away. You become a parent and you feel like you can protect your child from all of these things, and that was quickly taken away from us.
As new parents and as parents of a medically complex child, there's no manual for any of this stuff.
We spent about 5.5 months in the hospital, from the NICU to the floor. We connected with Kindering early on from the hospital. When we were getting ready to discharge, we had PT in the hospital, which really helped Callie. And they shared that once we got home, that we would also have some services in home. And this was such a new process for us both, of trying to just get home and get acclimated, and to find out that we were gonna have some resources that were gonna help Callie hit those milestones with like, whew. What's so beautiful about Kindering is they come up with a full plan. Keep coming. Keep coming. So one of the big milestones that we were working on is for Callie to sit up and then stand and then walk. And the fact that here she is at 15 months, sitting up, standing, and taking steps is amazing. But Kindering has taught me that for all those steps, for her to get there, there's exercises and there's baby steps to get there.
The fact that we've been able to keep it fun, make it a game, she has no idea that what she's doing is actually building towards the goals that we're trying to accomplish, but she just thinks it's just hanging out with mom and dad. Kindering not only came in with this great plan, but they're invested in my daughter in every single milestone that she is reaching for and she's hitting and will continue to reach.
They always say it takes a village to raise a child. We just thought our village was gonna be our parents, our family and friends. We did not realize that our village would be Kindering, our nurses, doctors. And so it's a different village, but it's the village that it takes to get Callie to where she needs to be and to excel.
Hey again, my name is Rome, or as many know me, Callie's dad. Over the past few months, since we filmed the video, Callie has taken off with her mobility. First, she starts scooting across the floor to get around, which included one Saturday morning where she scooted from her room to ours and started banging on the door with her toy. She's picking up things so well. She is sidestepping along the staircase, sitting up from lying down, pushed her wagon outside, and oh yeah, last month, she took her first unassisted steps, walking to both my wife and me. Her communication has picked up as well. She can sign poop, all done, more, again, I want, shoes, itsy bitsy spider, and she does this strong arms thing. She amazes us every day. It's my privilege to ask you to join our family today and making a financial investment in Kindering. Every dollar counts. Give once or make it monthly. Each donation makes a powerful impact in the lives of Kindering children, their future, and our entire community. We know that infants cannot wait to receive support at Kindering. Like Callie, some kids come to Kindering immediately after leaving the NICU. Others come after their first or second birthday. Some find Kindering after a caregiver sees a developmental delay. Some seek Kindering after hearing about the services from a friend. What connects the thousands of kids and families at Kindering is the irreplaceable opportunity they find in the community they develop to support their children and make significant developmental gains. These kids do not have time to wait for the pandemic to end. They need Kindering services today. Kindering's Courage Society ensures that all children have access to the crucial early support services they deserve today and tomorrow and for years to come. Courage Society members make multi-year commitments ensuring long-term stability and growth, like gifts starting at $1,000 over 5 years. If you have been inspired by what you've seen today, consider joining me this afternoon as a member of the Courage Society. Your multi-year pledge will provide crucial uncompensated care funds, ensuring that Kindering will never have to turn away a family based on their financial needs. To become a member of the Courage Society or to make a recurring gift of your choice, click the I would like my donation to recur button at the bottom of the Salute to Courage donation page. Need more inspiration? I'm excited to announce that Kindering has received generous matching gifts from our sponsors, Event Chair and several families. Thanks to this group, all gifts and pledges made today will be matched. That's right, your donation will have even more impact. Although I'm passionate about the Courage Society, we truly appreciate gifts of all levels. Whatever gift you have chosen to make today, thank you. Your gift ensures that all children have access to the transformative pediatric therapies and specialized early learning support services they deserve. Thank you for supporting my family on our journey and for helping Kalia grow into the strong little girl that she is today.
Show me you're strong. Yeah, strong. We did it. Yeah.
Thank you, Rome, for sharing your family's story. I loved hearing how much Callie has grown over the past 6 months. She's so strong, and I can't wait to see what she does next. I wish there were time to give you a glimpse into all of Kindering's 20-plus programs, but that would have us here all day. However, we wanted to give you a chance to learn a little more about one of our family support programs, the Sibling Support Project. Founded in 1990, this program was the first national program dedicated to the lifelong and ever-changing concerns of millions of brothers and sisters of people with special health, developmental, and mental health concerns. In a moment, you'll meet Anya, a proud member of the Sibling Support Project's Sib Shops program. After the video, Kindering CEO Dr. Lisa Greenwald will share more about what Kindering and their services look like today.
My sister is the most lovey, sweet person I know. The laughter from her makes everybody else start laughing. It's good to get that just happiness. My sister is named Elin Magnuson. She is 9 years old, and she has a 1q44 chromosomal deletion. She cannot talk. She cannot walk. I always know that her needs usually are way more serious than mine. I know that I would always want her to have the best experience possible.
Is that fun?
If anyone ever says anything about her that is not positive, I felt kind of like jumping on them. But then I realized not everyone understands.
Anya is really fierce when it comes to advocating for Elin. And I know Elin actually is pretty vocal in times when she's trying to stick up for Anya as well. They can sense each other's feelings just via body language. It's pretty magical. A lot of the times, Anya's life was in flux.
Every time we would have to go to the hospital, our whole lives got uprooted. We would have to figure out, okay, how's Anya gonna get to soccer practice? How's Anya gonna get to school? All those day-to-day things that when you're at the hospital with your kid, you've got 10,000 things happening. But then you have another child who's also very concerned about her sister. That was the hardest part, is kind of juggling what to do with Anya when Elin was in the hospital.
If you're struggling at a time of stress, you know that your parents already have a lot on their plate and they're already dealing with a lot. And you don't want to add anything, but you also don't want to feel so alone.
When we originally found out about Elin's disability and what kind of detriment that can have on the siblings with a sibling with disabilities, we did not want that to be part of our family's kind of dynamic.
When she went to SIB shops, she was with all of her peers that had very similar situations to her.
At the Sibling Support Project, we believe that every sibling deserves to have access to information and support that empower them to care not only for their families, but also for themselves. The first time I had really the privilege of co-facilitating a SIB shop, I thought back to my own childhood and thought about how lucky I would have been to have had the opportunity to meet other brothers and sisters of kids with disabilities. Growing up, I never knew a single other person who had a brother or sister with a disability, and that can be a really isolating feeling.
For her to have a community where she felt heard made me feel really good that we had a place to send her that could give her that support that's not just from us.
It's almost like she can breathe a little bit deeper. It just opens this door of like, wow, there's other people out there that are like me, that struggle with the same things, but we still have the highs and lows like typical kids.
It's kind of a relief, honestly, to not have to explain in deep detail what my life is like, where everybody has similar struggles to you. Coming to SIB shops has helped me realize that I'm not alone. You just can kind of let go, and everyone understands you.
For Anya, making her flourish in her own environment, not just between her relationship with her sister, but seeing typical kids when they're going through certain struggles, it allows her to see that she has more compassion for everyone else in her own community.
Siblings need opportunities to voice their own concerns, their hopes, their dreams for their future and their siblings' future.
I was concerned in the beginning because Elin was different and I wasn't sure that they would be able to have that sort of close sister thing, but they definitely do. It's been really wonderful to see them become closer and to see Elin really reach towards her sister as a companion and a peer.
Even though she can't talk, like, she can physically lean on me, cuddle me, and just give love.
Elin says very few words that most people can understand, but one of the words she says very clearly is Anya. So that tells you a lot about kind of how Elin feels about her bigger sister. So many people will just say, you know, how do you do it? You know, and it's just like, well, how do you not do it? Everybody has their own battles and you just have to, you make it through one day at a time. My hopes for Anya are that she continues to be a fierce advocate for her sister.
Everyone is going through something at some time, and it's important that you're there for them. Even if you don't completely understand, that you make them feel like you are there. Behind the mask, there's probably a lot of things going on and emotions and feelings that need to be expressed in a safe place. In those tough moments, everyone at SIB Shops has really been there for me.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Greenwald, and I'm Kindering's CEO. Thank you so much for being here, engaged and dedicated to supporting children with diverse abilities and their families, including siblings, as you just saw. The Sibling Support Program reaches siblings across the world, and I'm so proud of how this program adapted throughout this pandemic at a time when our kids need us most. Now, before I get started, I want to take this opportunity to say a special thank you to those who have joined us now for several virtual events over the past year and a half. Who knew we would have had to use the magic of technology to stay connected for this long? Thank you for sticking with this format so that we can still share the important journeys of our families, and I look forward to being together again when the time is right. Since our Salute to Courage benefit last fall, our families and staff alike have continued to grow and learn. In 2020 alone, our Birth to 3 early support and kids clinic staff successfully held nearly 54,000 sessions of occupational, physical, speech language, and feeding therapies, as well as special education to children with developmental delays or disabilities and their families. And thanks to the courageous partnership of parents and caregivers and the dedication and innovation of staff, 73% of these were provided virtually. I really can't believe it has been over a year now when we began to safely reintroduce in-person services starting on a limited basis. And now all families have virtual and in-person options while we continue to vigilantly protect the health and safety of everyone involved through carefully designed health and safety protocols. Most importantly, these services continue to be highly effective. More than half of Kindering's children no longer require special education-related supports at age 3. Not only are kids narrowing or closing the developmental gap with their peers, which is priceless in and of itself, but from an economic standpoint, this also means we are saving our local school district many millions every single year. Early therapies and education are extremely effective, and I know you will join me in celebrating the progress in every single child's development through both virtual and in-person services. Speaking of progress, one of the biggest challenges of the pandemic at Kindering was that the number of new children referred for services dropped to an all-time low, even though the need was clearly increasing. Knowing the importance and effectiveness of these services, this was simply heartbreaking. So we rallied around this issue and set our hearts and minds to find families and not wait for them to find us. And now we are happy to report that this summer, the number of new children accessing our services met an all-time high. We celebrate this because our children need us now more than ever. In fact, it has become clear that Kindering must grow to meet demand. We know that only a portion of children who would qualify for Kindering services are reached each year, and that the needs of children and families have increased significantly through this pandemic. The investment that you and all our supporters make in Kindering allows us to continue growing and reaching more and more children and families who would benefit from our services. As we embark on our 60th year of serving the community, continuing to grow and remain a dynamic agency is critical. As part of our journey to make inclusion and equity a reality, Kindering is incorporating compassion, appreciation, resilience, and empowerment, or CARE, into all our interactions as we become a care-designated, healing-centered organization. Introducing CARE to our 200-plus staff over 4 campuses has been a labor of love, time, adjusting, learning, and definitely listening. All staff participate in foundational training around inclusion, equity, and trauma-informed practice. We continue to increase the diversity in our workforce in an effort to match the diversity of the children and families we serve. And under the guidance of our Equity and Inclusion Officer and various consultants, we have developed a work plan at all levels of the organization that drives us forward. Now, as I think about our guest speaker today, I am reminded of so many leaders and visionaries across our community that, like Sheila, have been crucial partners in our success. I wish I had the time to thank every single partner individually, but let me highlight a few that you might not know about. First, you may have seen our preview slides about our partnership with Early Markers. Thanks to funding from the National Institute of Health, Kindering participated in a project to innovate how more developmental screenings and evaluations could be brought straight into families' homes and clinical locations through technology. Second, We thank other early support agencies across the state who engaged with our staff as we shared Kindering's pre-pandemic telehealth experiences and offered statewide training in order to adapt to the realities of this pandemic together. Third, we could not be more thrilled to be expanding Kindering's Cherish program, supporting children in foster and kinship care. Currently, this program has been replicated to agencies in the greater Seattle area, and now we are able to bring this program to providers all across the state through the support of generous donors. And last, but certainly not least, we are proud to partner with King County Best Starts for Kids. The large majority of Kindering's programs, and thus thousands of children and families, have been supported financially through Best Starts for Kids. Thanks to each of you living in King County, including possibly even your vote for the levy's renewal, we are excited to see what this next chapter holds for our community. So it is my honor to introduce one of the biggest champions for Best Starts for Kids as our keynote speaker today. Sheila Ader Capistani is King County's Strategic Advisor for Children and Youth and Director of the Children, Youth, and Young Adult Division. Sheila has over 30 years of experience in both the nonprofit and public sectors, working on initiatives that emphasize supporting women, young children, and families. Since 2015, Sheila has been the project leader for Best Starts for Kids, as well as working in public outreach and strategic planning and acting as a liaison to local government partners. Sheila is an insightful and innovative leader in our community, bringing early childhood development, as well as youth and family health and well-being into the foreground of our community discussions. She holds both a Master of Public Health and a Master of Social Work from the University of Washington, and is passionate about the connections between local and global health and well-being and supporting community-based efforts near and far. Sheila, thank you for being here with us today. We are truly honored to have you join us.
Thank you, Lisa. I am thrilled to be here, celebrating with you Kindering as an organization, but also Kindering as community, as family, and as a place where our children and families belong. I'm sorry not to be with you in person. I love more than anything the energy in a room when people come together with that sense of celebration and belonging, but I'm also happy to be able to join with you virtually in this celebration. I'm excited about this year's theme, a salute to courage. I'm a woman who likes words, and at the beginning of every year, I choose a word that defines what I will need or what I hope to live by for the coming year. For 3 years running now, I've chosen the word stamina. It just seemed like every year in the past several, I've gotten to that point of choosing when I've thought, wow, we're not done yet. I've got to dig down and keep on keeping on. So more than the word we hear so much right now, resilience, or our ability to bounce back, I've needed stamina. I've needed the ability to keep going even when I didn't feel like I could bounce back one more time. This year, though, I decided enough is enough. I still need stamina, but I also need connection and community. And really, I need fun. So I decided to add a word this year. So 2 words for this year. My 2 words are joyful stamina. I still need to keep going, but I will find every moment I can to create and absorb and share joy. Now I'm going to take a minute to state the obvious. We have been in it, haven't we? The last year and a half have been unlike any in our collective experience. We have lived with fear and rage and anxiety. We've lived with helplessness and grief, a sense of isolation. We've been impacted as a people by a life form we can't even see, but by now we all know what it looks like. We've been overwhelmed by trying to sort out what is truth and what is real, and how do we accept the differences among us and still call us whole. We have been in it, and we are still in it, and we are still trying to hold and deal with all of those things. But I also saw something else, more important than I have in my lifetime. I saw millions of people take to the streets, in rage, yes, but also with the demand that we become our better selves, and therefore with the conviction that we can become our better selves. I saw big institutions turn on a dime to provide care for those among us who fall sick. I saw community organizations rally around communities and families, almost instantaneously going virtual with services and support. I saw families and friends checking in more, connecting more, creating bubbles of support. I saw folks risking their lives to make sure that others were okay. I saw the incredible strength of families figuring out how to parent and teach and work from home all at once. And I saw acceptance and caring on Zoom calls where children became a regular part of the calls. I saw individual people reaching out to one another by phone, by text, by email to ask if we were okay, or to say, I am not okay, can you help me? That is also what happened in these past couple of years. And it's really important to me that we remember that piece as well. So these two ways of being that we have been through, these heavy, soul-searing ways, and these deeply hopeful, loving ways, having to hold on to these two things is one of the reasons I love so much this year's theme of celebration with Kindering, a salute to courage. Because of all the things we've had to dig deep into this past year and a half, we have had to dig deep into courage. Courage to keep moving forward, courage to look closely and honestly at hard things, courage to keep moving when it seemed like the world was on fire, and courage to keep moving when our world was literally on fire. Now, having said all of this, I know that none of you here today are strangers to courage. Aside from the grand scale we have been living in, I know that each of us still had to get through our everyday. We still have to raise our kids. We still have to figure out resources when we need more support. We still have to live with the diversity of our families and our children's needs. We still have to find ways to bring joy into and around our children. This takes courage too, and this is the other reason why I love this theme, because everyday courage is important too. And because it is hard sometimes, it is good for us to stop and remember this and celebrate, and yes, to salute each other and ourselves for just a moment. And mostly, I'm happy to be here to talk about all the good things we have, the ways that we are living out courage and what I call big L love, the kind of love that keeps us connected even through the really, really difficult, conflict-filled parts, and that pushes us to want to make sure that we are all able to live our full selves. I'm one of those lucky people who get to live big L love through my work. As noted in my intro, I work with King County, and I'm the director of our Children, Youth, and Young Adult Division, and I'm the lead for Best Starts for Kids. In August, Best Starts was renewed by the voters for another 6 years in an overwhelming majority. This is truly remarkable. As a 6-year property tax levy initiative that is focused on prenatal to age 24, Best Starts is the largest and most comprehensive initiative of its kind in the country. Best Starts is based on so much more than being a funding source, though. It really is about creating a county where all children grow into everything they can be, where they have a sense of belonging, where families feel supported, and where our communities are positive places for children and families to grow. At its foundation, Best Starts is about promotion, prevention, early intervention, and policy and system change. I like to say that we work to increase the good things in people's lives, that we work to decrease the bad things, we step in early as possible when things go awry, and we wrap community around families. Finally, we work to change policies and systems so there are less things to go awry for young people and our families. I know many of you are familiar with the ideas of prevention and early intervention, so I wanted to just take a couple of minutes to talk about promotion and policy and system change. Promotion, or what we call the promotion of well-being part of Best Starts, is about really saying not just what we want to prevent for our young people, but what we want to create. Oftentimes, as a government and as other institutions, we are put into a position of needing to think about how do we stop the bad things from happening. And I know as a county, that is our obligation to make sure that we're working on the things that have gone awry for young people and we're finding solutions to that. Best Starts gives us an opportunity to come in earlier, though, to be able to support our families and our children from the very, very beginning. And not only from the time that they're born, but sometimes even for our younger kids at a time to keep them on the right track. Not just to say what we don't want to have happen for them, but really, we want this for you. So it's a unique thing, but an opportunity for us as a community, as a county, to be able to talk about promotion of well-being for our children and not just prevention of the bad things. The other things that we recognize with Best Starts for Kids is that Some of what we do for people is about their individual and family need, but a lot of what we experience in our daily lives is really about the systems and policies around us. And many of those systems and policies are actually harmful to our children and our communities, and it makes it difficult for all children and families to grow and thrive. So Best Starts is committed to taking a look at those systems and policies that we have created or maybe that came before us, and really being able to say what works here and what doesn't work here. We don't do that in isolation. We work very closely with our community-based partners and their ability to help us think through those issues as they themselves have been working and being embedded within our systems changes. The majority of the funds go to the earliest years, prenatal to 5, when we as humans do our most intense growing and establishing the foundation for all that is to come in the rest of our lives. We understand that investing in children and families from the very beginning is critical, but we also understand that it takes more than just us as parents and families, that we sometimes need our team around us. And so we partner with organizations who provide this team for families. This is particularly important right now in the times that we are in. Best Starts is also about community partnerships. We work with over 350 organizations to provide programs for our young people, and Kindering has been a vital partner right from the beginning. I can remember in the first few weeks that I started with the county, as we were still forming what Best Starts would be, I went to Kindering with the King County Executive, Dow Constantine, for a tour and to hear about their work. We talked about the importance of investing early in our children and families, about how important early support is for the diversity of needs for our children and families, and about how our systems need to change to embrace all of our children across all of our ways of being. Since then, Kindering has been an important community partner in providing services to children and families as a Best Starts for Kids grantee, and as an important ongoing thought partner in both the long term in how we need to create systems change, but also in the here and now, how we need to continue the vital work of supporting children and families during this current pandemic. So I want to end today where I started, with my love of words. In the end, Best Starts is about 4 words: happy, healthy, safe, and thriving, for all of our children, for all of our youth, all of our young adults, all of our families and communities. Happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. I want to add to these words the words from Kindering: hope, courage, soaring, belonging. Let's imagine together, through all of these difficult times we've been through and all that is ahead for us, let's give this to our children: happiness, health, hope, courage, belonging, and an opportunity to soar. Thank you. And now I would like to welcome Dennis back to the stage.
Thank you, Sheila. Good to see you again.
You too.
And thanks for sharing your passion and for your 3 decades of leadership within our community. We appreciate all of you joining us today and opening your hearts to our children and families. Again, as a reminder, thanks to our amazing matching pool, all gifts given today will be matched. We hope you're inspired to donate. And don't forget, you can join the Courage Society or to give on a recurring basis. Just click the I would like my donation to recur button at the bottom of the donation page. You'll find the giving link at the bottom of your screen, as well as in the video description details on today's YouTube video. Many thanks again to all of our generous 2021 Kindering event sponsors: Sheila Capistani, Lisa Greenwald, and today's event chair, Cheryl Willard. Thank you for spending the afternoon with me from the comfort of your home, and I hope to see you again in person soon. Have a great day.